If you're preparing for an English speaking test, such as IELTS, or even if you're not, working on techniques to get a high score will improve your English fluency. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do it right here. So let's I'm Deirdre Nicholas, teacher, speaker, and your personal English language coach. Now, you may have heard of IELTS, which is the International English Language Testing System, and it's a test which is used for anybody who wishes to study or work in any countries where English is the main language of communication. So you may be preparing for your IELTS test now, in which case this video about the IELTS speaking test will be fantastic for you. Or you may be thinking of going to live or work in another country where English is the mode of communication and where you'll need IELTS to be accepted. So this will give you a really good head start. Or even if you aren't doing any of those things, learning how to get a high score in IELTS speaking is one of the best things that you can do to improve your English fluency. And you can do all of these things at home, either on your own or just with a friend. So I'm going to give you some top quality guidance on how to improve your fluency and get a high score in IELTS in your speaking test. Now, for those of you who are taking the IELTS test, this video relates to part 1 in the speaking test. First of all, try to talk as much as possible. Now, the IELTS speaking test part 1 tests your ability to talk about personal experiences and interests, and it's very short. It only lasts about 4 to 5 minutes in general conversation. So my first tip for doing well in this test and for talking more fluently is try to talk as much as possible. The examiner is looking to hear you speak so that they can tell how good you are at English speaking, and you need to demonstrate that you're really good at English speaking too. If you don't speak, how will the examiner know how good you are at English? The second thing is to talk fluently and develop your answers. It's important, for example, in any conversation, of course, but particularly in the IELTS speaking test, to develop your answer and expand on what you're saying. So if you're asked a question such as, "Where are you from?" don't just say Cairo or wherever it is. That won't get you a very good score, and also it's not going to start a very good fluent conversation either. You need to expand and say something like, "Well, I'm from Cairo, the capital of Egypt. It's in North Africa." Now, when I was an IELTS examiner, I often used to get candidates who just stopped talking and just gave silence. Now, I didn't know if they could speak good English or not. If you don't speak, the examiner will never know how brilliant you are, and they won't be able to give you a good score. So, how do you do this, and what is the best preparation? I'm going to tell you. First of all, get a list of topics. Now, the topics that you will be asked about in part 1 of the IELTS speaking are simple topics such as about you, study, work, your hometown, free time, holidays, transport, shopping, your neighbourhood, reading, sports and games. So make a list of topics like this. Then take each topic and expand your ideas about it so that you can develop a range of vocabulary for each of these topics. So let's take an example, your hometown. Think about lots of things that you could talk about if someone asked you about your hometown. Where is it? In which country? Is it a busy, crowded town or a quiet, rural area? Are there a lot of people there? Do you like your hometown? How do you feel about your hometown? And so on. Now, I don't want you to write anything down. I just want you to think about ideas because, of course, in the exam, you won't be able to write anything down for part 1. So this is quick thinking and developing of ideas. Number 4 is list of phrases and vocabulary. You then need to have a range of vocabulary and phrases for each topic. So for your hometown, you might talk about it being a busy, bustling city not far from the mountains. Or it's a popular coastal resort favoured by tourists. So if you use simple vocabulary like "it's a big city," this will give you a low band score and you don't want that. Whereas "it's a busy, bustling city" will be much more impressive for the examiner. It's much more advanced, and also if you use it in everyday speech, it sounds a lot more fluent. By the way, make sure you get the adjective order right. I've got a video about this, so make sure you watch that. Now, another thing you need to think about is collocations and phrases that go together, and fixed phrases too. You can use verb collocations like "my city makes an impression on visitors" and "my hometown has the benefit of being near the capital of my country." Now, your next step in becoming more fluent and getting a higher score in IELTS is to record yourself. So you choose maybe 6 questions from one of the topics we talked about. Take your mobile phone and answer the questions into the phone, recording your voice. Remember, don't write anything, just speak. And record your voice and then check it. Listen to your voice, find out how fluent you sound and where your weaknesses are. This is so important because this is the way you're going to improve. So, how do you know when you're making a mistake? I'm going to tell you all about that. And I'm going to show you 4 things that you can check against to see how fluent you are. Oh, and before I go on, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell so you don't miss any of my videos and lessons. And if you would like to have me as your personal language coach, just email me on the email address below, deirdre@palmtreeteaching.com. And I'd love to help you, and I really hope you decide to do this as it will really improve your English. So, the 4 things that you need to think about when you listen to yourself on your recording are fluency, vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation. So why these 4 things? Well, 2 reasons. Firstly, these 4 things are equally important, and these things are what the examiner will be marking you against. And the second reason is that these 4 things make up fluent English speaking. So, fluency. What does fluency mean? Well, first of all, you need to check the length of your answer. Remember I said keep talking. That's very important. If you can develop your answer and expand your ideas, you will not only get a higher band score, but in everyday speaking, you will sound much more fluent. Don't be silent and don't stop. Just keep speaking with a good flow. We don't want hesitations in the answers. So if you and then you need to practice a lot more, do more recordings until you sound more natural and flowing. So, vocabulary. You need to have a good range of words and phrases. Try not to repeat the same words. So, for example, "it was a very nice meal," "it was very hot," "I was very tired." Instead, you need to find different words that mean the same thing. So instead of those things, say things like, "The meal was delicious," "it was a boiling hot day," "I was exhausted." That will give you a much higher band score. So this paraphrasing, as it's called, is very important. Finding words and phrases that mean the same thing. Now, if you can paraphrase successfully, you're looking at least a band 7 IELTS. So back to that important question. How do you know when you're making mistakes? Well, it's easy. When you listen to yourself on your recording, write down the words that you say. Then look them up and check them to see if they are correct. Are they accurate? Do they mean what you wanted them to say? Do you pronounce them properly? So, grammar. The next thing you need to listen out for in your speaking practice is grammar. Now, you can check for mistakes in the same way as you did for vocabulary. You also have to make sure that you're using a range of different grammar tenses. Now, if the question that you're being asked is in the present simple, you need to vary the way you answer it. Not just answering in the present simple, but using different verb tenses. For example, the question in part 1 could be, "Do you like your hometown?" You could answer, "Yes, I like it a lot, although it has changed. It used to be a much friendlier place and there was less traffic." Now, you've changed a simple present simple question into a great answer with a range of different verb tenses. And there's a good linking word there too, although. And this is something else you need to prepare. Create a list of good linking words. Things like however, therefore, and so on, or even just but. Okay, so the last point to consider, and something which is equally important as the other three, is pronunciation. Are you pronouncing each word correctly? You can check on online dictionaries where you can hear the sound of the word online. Are you pronouncing the sounds correctly, like the schwa, for example, and strong sounds like p and t? Of course, rhythm and intonation are really important too. So it's important to listen to lots of different native speaker English to get the sound of the flow of the language. Listen to where the stress is in sentences and words. I've created a video on this, so make sure you have a look at that because that will help you. Then all you need to do is keep practicing. Find out what you need to work on, where your weaknesses are, and keep repeating the steps that we've worked through in this video. You will improve your English, both for IELTS and for fluent speaking. I can guarantee it. Now, I've made lots of videos actually on improving your fluency, so make sure you have a look at those. I'll put the links below this video because that will really help you as well. They will build your English fast and improve your English fluency in a fun way. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and please like and subscribe to this amazing channel and share it with your friends as well. So I'm going to see you next time. Good luck with your English. Bye.